Page 1. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed investors, and fellow pioneers of the future, I stand before you today as the CEO of Volshebny Mechatech, or VM, a company that doesn't just push boundaries but obliterates them with every shift in gear and thrust of the engine. My name is Kostya Makarov, and while some might say I am a visionary, I prefer to think of myself as the next Zeus, but instead of lightning bolts, I'm wielding the power of aerospace combat mechas that could turn the future of racing upside down. Yes, I'm talking about the VF-12 Beta Fighter, the mecha that's not just going to rule the skies but dominate the racetrack. Now, you might be wondering, what does a mecha fighter have to do with racing? Well, let me tell you, just as Laguna Seca has become synonymous with speed and precision for traditional vehicles, our VF-12 Beta Fighter is the ultimate fusion of man, machine, and, most importantly, speed. We're not talking about the usual wheels on tarmac, we're talking about wings, thrusters, and the very laws of physics laughing as we rip through the air like a jet on steroids. So here's the deal. We are here today with the mighty power of the VF-12 Beta Fighter, and we are seeking a modest investment of $100 million in Series B funding from the Madripoor venture capital firm, OMVCA, and if that sounds like a grand ask, well, it is. But let's break it down for you, just like how I would break down a race on the Laguna Seca track. The VF-12 Beta Fighter, a legendary machine for racing. You see, the VF-12 Beta Fighter isn't just any mecha. It's a vertical takeoff and landing machine capable of shifting between fighter mode and battloid mode, with a wingspan of 19.5 meters, so yes, nearly the length of a football field. I know, that's not exactly street legal, but we're not trying to win a local derby, we're here for global dominance. Our 9.7-meter fighter mode lets us break the sound barrier while making all the right turns at Laguna Seca, because let's be honest, if we can handle 11 corners on a 2.2-mile track with this kind of precision, the VF-12 can handle anything. Net operating income, NOI, for the VF-12 Beta Fighter project. We're talking $8,725,460. Don't get me wrong, we're not rolling in it yet, but trust me, with the kind of all-weather and battle-tested performance these mechas bring to the table, you'll wish you were first in line to buy stock in this kind of future tech. The numbers don't lie, KPIs and total productive maintenance. Now, I know you love key performance indicators, so let me break it down for you. Just like total productive maintenance, TPM, keeps machines from breaking down, we've applied that same philosophy to the VF-12 Beta Fighter. Our overall equipment effectiveness, OE, is built to last through anything, just like that Laguna Seca track, which, despite its surprising low grip and dust-covered pavement, can test any driver's mettle. We've ensured our mecha doesn't just stay in the race here, it dominates the entire track while keeping downtime nearly non-existent. This is a machine built for speed, efficiency, and reliability. If you're still not sold on the ROI, let me give you a little more insight. Our operating efficiency is measured through our engine occupancy count, EOC. Think of it as how well the mecha's engine is running while you're out the cornering at Mach 1. We've got it down to a science. Our current engine occupancy sits at 638,908 SF, but as we take this venture into a global market, we anticipate global expansion and huge returns. Our total maintenance and upgrade index is already planned out. To think of it as prepping your race car for the Indy 500, but with a lot more laser weapons and jet engines. The money where your $100 million Series B investment will go now. Let's talk about how we'll spend your hard-earned dollars. Because we know you're not in it for just the thrill of the ride, you want to see real returns. Research and development, R&D, will allocate $50 million to make the VF-12 Beta Fighter faster, smarter, and more battle-hardened than ever. Think of this like a mecha gym will put the machine through rigorous training regimens to make sure it's track-ready and can handle all conditions, from the desert of Nevada to the icy waters of the North Pole. Manufacturing expansion, another $30 million will go into scaling up production and building state-of-the-art mecha factories that can churn out VF-12s faster than you can say. We've already broken the track record. And trust me, these mechas are not just for racing. We're looking to expand into security, reconnaissance, and possibly pizza delivery, because why not? Marketing branding, we'll throw $50 million into making sure the VF-12 Beta Fighter becomes as famous as James Bond's Aston Martin, only cooler. Global ad campaigns, digital dominance, and a few sponsorship deals with major racing leagues are in the cards. Sustainability future-proofing, finally, the last $5 million will be used to make sure we don't just get to the finish line but get there sustainably. Green energy, biofuels, and solar-powered mecha accessories are part of our future vision. We aim to leave carbon footprints that are so tiny, they'll be hard to spot on a satellite map. Closing. So, there you have it. The VF-12 Beta Fighter is ready to take to the skies, the tracks, and the future. And with your investment, we'll take that $100 million, turn it into a $1 billion industry, and make sure the world sees us for the race-winning, technology-pushing, mecha-powered juggernaut we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask for your trust. Because when we start racing in the VF12, we're not just winning races, we're winning the future. Thank you. Page 2. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed investors, future mecha enthusiasts, and potential racing moguls, I stand before you as the proud creator of the VF-12 Beta Fighter, the finest aerospace combat mecha turned racing machine on this or any other planet. I'm Kostya Makarov, the CEO of Volshebny Mechatech, and today, I'm here to do one thing: convince you that the future of racing is no longer just on tarmac. It's in the skies, on the ground, and through the heavens themselves, courtesy of the VF-12 Beta Fighter. Now, before you start thinking that I'm some kind of crazy dreamer, let me tell you, racing isn't just about speed, it's about precision, strategy, and, most importantly, handling. And who better to break it down than the VF-12, a mecha fighter that's as comfortable launching off the ground as it is tearing up the track. Let me take you on a little journey, combining the art of racing with the science of aerospace combat. Hang tight, because we're about to get technical, funny, and just a touch surreal. Let's talk Laguna Seca. The track of legends. Laguna Seca, also known as the acid test for any car, is a 2.2-mile playground of 11 corners and enough elevation changes to make even the most seasoned drivers clutch their seats. But don't worry, the VF-12 Beta Fighter was made for this. While most cars would struggle with the low grip from the pavement's aggregate and dust, we're out here literally soaring, navigating the track with wings on our backs. Front straightaway turn 1, the longest straight, but only for a moment now. The front straight is long, but that doesn't mean we get to just stretch out and enjoy the view. No, we're climbing uphill here, and while lesser cars might think they've got this corner covered, the VF-12 is already thinking 2 steps ahead. By the time we hit turn 1, we're light as a feather, thanks to the elevation change. The trick? Don't go left like everyone else. Instead, we're angling toward the crest like a fighter jet eyeing its target. This isn't just a corner, it's the beginning of the vertical dance. Turn 2, Andretti hairpin. The brake and slide are, turn 2, the Andretti hairpin, are legendary, but also intimidating. As we head downhill into this corner, it's time for the VF-12 Beta Fighter to show off what makes it unique, its versatility. While traditional cars would overbrake here and throw themselves into the corner, we're making a smooth early turn in to hit that first apex. You know what? Call it the hairpin that got a makeover. The VF-12 doesn't just slow down, it whips around like a world-class gymnast finishing a flawless routine. Turns 3-4, motorcycle racing for mechas. Okay, let's talk about turns 3 and 4, which were added for motorcycles, but why not? We've got mechas with jet engines. Turn 3 is flat, but don't take it lightly, because we're using every inch of the inside curb to make sure we're composed, keeping that mecha tight like a well-oiled machine. Turn 4? Oh, that's the faster near less than 90 degrees, but it's where the VF-12 shines. We're rolling off the brakes, keeping our maintenance throttle to stabilize the ride, and next thing you know, we're out of there faster than a rocket launch. Turn 5, the long straight. After turn 5, you might think you have all the time in the world to take a breath. Wrong. You've got the same long straightaway, but we're taking it to the next level. You're thinking, Kostya, how do we handle the camber and elevation change near the apex? Simple. The VF-12 is built to hook tight to the anti-cut curb like a pit bull, and guess what? No power off needed, we're staying on the throttle and letting the grip do the rest. Turn 6, the key corner. Turn 6. Now this one will make or break you. It's a downhill, uphill, and good luck keeping your lunch kind of corner. As we head toward the bridge, you won't even see the corner until you pass it. But don't worry, we've got a trick up our sleeve. Throttle balance is the name of the game. A quick brake, a smooth turn in, and boom, we're already at the apex. And yes, we're accelerating out of there like we just switched on afterburners. Turn 7 and 8, set up for the corkscrew now. This is where the fun begins. Turn 7 might look easy, but we know it's all about positioning for the legendary corkscrew. As we approach, we're diagonally shifting the car, read, mecha, braking hard, but the ease off. We've got to keep things smooth because the corkscrew waits for no one. The key? Using the camber to hook the car into the second half, aim for that third tree, and hold on. Once we get through 8A, we're on the throttle, shooting downhill like an Olympic skier. No brakes. Full throttle, baby. Turn 9, the downhill power, and finally, turn 9, the grand finale. We're heading downhill, 7 stories worth of descent, and the only thing left to do is grab the reins and hold on tight. Use that bridge as a reference, but as we roll down, we're powering out of there. We're not just cruising, we're breaking barriers, jumping through gravity like it's an afterthought. Wrapping it up, the VF-12 Beta Fighter's future in racing. So, why the VF-12 Beta Fighter for racing? Because it's not just a car. It's a mecha, built for the future, capable of handling every curve, every corner, and every twist of fate. The VF-12 Beta Fighter is a game changer, an industry disruptor, and, frankly, a whole lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of racing isn't just fast, it's beyond fast. It's the VF-12 Beta Fighter. Let's take to the skies, then the track, and show the world what true innovation looks like. Thank you. Page 3. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts or, whatever it is that keeps you securely in a VF-12 Beta Fighter while we take it to the track at Laguna Seca, the land of endless elevation changes, tight turns, and that legendary corkscrew. Now, let me tell you, if you're thinking about taking a Robotech VF-12 Beta Fighter to Laguna Seca, you better be ready to engage all the systems, because we're not just talking about a car, we're talking about a fighter jet that happens to have an insane set of wheels. So, let's break this down a Laguna Seca style, but make it Robotech. Turn 1 out the front straight away. Let's talk about the longest straight on the track, and yes, the VF-12 can totally stretch its legs here. In a car, you'd probably be holding onto your lunch with both hands as you crest uphill. But in a VF-12, we're not just cresting, we're soaring. However, keep an eye on that crest before turn 2, it'll throw your altitude off quicker than you can say throttle to maximum. Turn 2, the Andretti hairpin, this is where the real fun begins. With all that power under the hood, you're going to need to brake earlier than expected. But no worry sir, we've got a cutting-edge AI system to help with that. So just like your typical fighter jet maneuvering, we'll drop in smoothly, rotate, and power out. Just make sure you don't end up with your nose up in the air, literally. Turn 6, the bridge of grip, this one's a toughie. You can't see the corner until you're past the bridge, so you'll need to trust your instincts, your AI, and, of course, your years of Robotech piloting experience. Brake just before turning in and balance the throttle like you're trying to avoid a disaster, because in the VF-12, disaster means complete annihilation of any race competition and no big deal. The corkscrew, oh yeah. I mean, what can I say about the corkscrew? 1 minute you're flying high, and the next you're aiming straight for the apex like you're pulling off some insane evasive maneuver. This is the part of the track where we really separate the men from the machines. Precision is key. You have to trust the camber at the top, let gravity do its thing, and dive down like you're dodging enemy fire. The car? Or should I say, the fighter jet? You won't even know you're falling, but you're going to feel the grip like you've just locked into ultra mode. Straighten the wheel, and boom, you're off like a rocket. Turn 10 and 11A strategic braking, you don't want to overdo it in these turns, just like you wouldn't take a turn too fast in a high-stakes aerial dogfight. Use the elevation changes to your advantage and always be ready to feel the track, like you would sense the wind beneath you when flying in formation. Final turn, now the final approach. Now that we've zoomed through most of the track, it's time to focus on that final corner, the slowest one, where braking and smooth throttle control will get you the best possible exit. You don't need to be in a rush, you're already in a VF-12 Beta Fighter. But let's be real, getting this turn right means you're starting that straight away with a smirk on your face, while everyone else is playing catch up. And here's the big takeaway. In a VF-12, you're not just racing. You're executing maneuvers with precision, calculating your every move. It's not about brute force here, it's about intelligence and using the track to your advantage like you're calculating the perfect interception. In conclusion, folks, when you're flying the VF-12 Beta Fighter at Laguna Seca, you're not just racing, you're rewriting the rules of physics. But don't worry, we've got a system for that. So, in short, remember, speed a check. Gripe a check. Having an absolute blast while making everyone else wonder if you just walked to a different dimension, a double check. Go ahead and push the limits, folks. It's only a matter of time before they start asking us to start a new racing league, Robotech Racing League. Anyone? Page 4. Ladies and gentlemen, engineers, and future VF-12 Beta Fighter enthusiasts. Gather round, because we're about to dive deep into the world of total productive maintenance, TPM, and how this glorious strategy is going to transform our fleet of VF-12s from awesome to unbeatable. Yes, I'm looking at you, firefighting maintenance guys, and trust me, the robot wars are going to need more than a band-aid approach. Total productive maintenance, or TPM, for the uninitiated, it's like giving your VF-12 Beta Fighter the TLC it deserves. You know, regular checks, inspections, and making sure it's battle-ready before a surprise alien invasion or race at Laguna Seca. And just like you'd care for your prize car, or a really needy pet, TPM ensures the machine doesn't break down when you least need it. We're talking about proactive care, not oh no, there goes my engine vibes. Now, let me tell you about Company and Company Bar, and don't worry, this will make sense in a second. Company a reactive maintenance approach. Picture this, it's like you have a race car, and suddenly it decides to leak oil. For a whole week. Oh no, what's that smell? It's burnout time. The maintenance team gets called in, they scramble, spend 29 hours fixing it, and now they're heroes for doing damage control. But here's the kicker, this could have been avoided if they had just been a little more proactive. Reactive maintenance is like waiting for your car to die before putting oil in it. Yeah, It works, but it's not how you win races or save your VF-12's engines. Company B, a proactive maintenance approach. Now imagine a world where your VF-12 fighter's operator, who, in this case, is a super cool, tech-savvy human, performs daily inspections like they're preparing for a mission. They check the gear, lubricate, inspect, and boom. No surprises. They catch a worn gear early, and hire no downtime and zero panic. Sounds like the ideal Robotech way to operate, right? It's like making sure your fighter's fuel is topped up before it's time to take off. Now, let's break down what makes TPM different from the standard, old-school way of doing things. Traditional maintenance. You're looking at a 35% downtime. And guess what? Maintenance teams are spending 80% of their time fixing stuff that could have been prevented. Imagine spending most of your day fixing a jet engine, just to find out that if someone had taken a 5-minute break to check the engine 2 weeks ago, you'd still be cruising at full throttle. TPM. You get that downtime down to 5%, and operators are empowered to take care of the basics, like lubrication, inspections, and cleaning. They're not just pressing buttons, they're learning how to keep the VF-12 in top shape. This means more flying, less fixing. Think of it like an action movie where the hero doesn't wait for the bad guys to blow up the car, they just keep it in tip-top shape to avoid that explosion in the first place. Autonomous maintenance is like your personal fighter jet mechanic that doesn't even need a wrench. Seriously, operators become so skilled, they're managing their own VF-12 beta fighters as if they were born with an onboard repair manual. Forget waiting for the doctor, aka the maintenance team, to fix a little issue. The operators jump into action, and with a few quick steps, that machine is back on track. The bathtub curve sounds fancy, right? But bear with me. When your VF-12 is brand new, it's kind of like an enthusiastic rookie. It's risky, but it's got the potential to be amazing. As the fighter matures, you get into the plateau phase, steady performance. This is the sweet spot where TPM shines by maintaining a routine checkup and reducing any chances of failure. Finally, as the machine ages, and by ages, we mean maybe a few thousand more air-to-air missile dodges, you need to put in some work to extend its life. Better with TPM, you're giving your VF-12 the care it needs, and avoiding a flame out at the most inconvenient time. Let's talk maintenance culture, shall we? Traditionally, you've got that I drive, you fix mentality. But with TPM, it's all about shifting gears and saying, I drive, I check, I fix the small stuff before it turns into a disaster. Operators are becoming part of the family. They're not just the pilots, they're the caretakers of the VF-12, and that means fewer surprises and smoother takeoffs. And here's the kicker: throughout all of this, TPM saves money, increases uptime, and most importantly, reduces those panic moments when something goes wrong mid-flight. You want your VF-12 flying high, not sitting in a repair bay. Trust me, the only thing that should be breaking is the sound barrier. In conclusion, my friends, TPM is your secret weapon. It's not just about fixing machines, it's about empowering operators, saving precious time, and keeping the VF-12 in perfect condition for whatever intergalactic challenges come your way. So next time you're prepping for a race or a showdown with some rogue, you'll know that TPM's got your back. It's a win-win. And remember, keep your VF-12 beta fighter in peak condition, or the only thing you'll be racing is time here and it's not on your side. Thank you. Page 5. Alright, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm about to show you how Total Productive Maintenance, TPM, applies to the VF-12 beta fighter, the sleekest, most powerful machine on the racetrack and in the sky. You thought you had maintenance down? Think again. We're talking about autonomous maintenance, where your fighter jet becomes its own pit crew. Let's break it down, bullet point style. And yes, I promise to make it as fun as a warp speed race with an alien invader hot on your tail. Key concepts of TPM for VF-12 beta fighter: operator-led autonomous maintenance. Just like a pilot drives their VF-12, they should maintain it too. I mean, who better to spot a problem than the person who spends the most time in the cockpit? They can check for those little things like oil leaks, worn-out components, or even the occasional rogue alien antenna that might be jammed in the engine. Empowered operators. Operators are no longer just pressing buttons, they're becoming the VF-12's personal care team. Think of them as a pilot ninja hybrid, capable of doing a pre-flight inspection and performing minor repairs, all while doing a 360-degree loop. Talk about multitasking. Maintenance staff focus on improvement, forget about fixing problems after they happen. The maintenance crew's new job is to keep improving the VF-12, optimizing the machines for better performance. They don't just fix issues, so they make sure they don't happen in the first place. It's like upgrading your fighter jet every day. Autonomous maintenance, the VF-12 edition tasks. Cleaning. Yeah, no one likes a dirty fighter, right? Especially not when it's racing across the sky. Operators clean out the engine bay, wipe down the cockpit, And make sure that afterburner is sparkling. Inspection. Before every race, operators check for any signs of stress on the VF-12, whether it's a slight engine misfire or a missing bolt. If there's something wrong, they catch it early. Lubrication. Keep those moving parts smooth. Because if you want that fighter to move like it's in the air or on the tracker, you need some good lubrication. Keep it slick. Benefits. Operators turn into VF-12 experts, so if they can fix it, they're already ahead in the race. They start spotting problems before they even start the engines. The maintenance crew gets to focus on bigger challenges, like upgrading the VF-12 to the next level of racing excellence. Less firefighting, more innovating. Communication between operators and the maintenance team becomes like a well-oiled machine, pun intended. Everyone knows the plan, and everyone knows their role. KAs and events. VF-12's pit crew training. KAs and events are like intense training sessions but for your fighter jet. Imagine this, a focused workshop where we look at the VF-12's overall equipment effectiveness and we inspect it with laser-like precision. OE components. Availability. Is your VF-12 ready to race, or is it stuck on the launch pad due to some minor issue? Performance. How fast can your VF-12 go when it's at peak performance? We're talking jet fuel speed. Quality. Does it stay in top shape, or does it fall apart when the race gets rough? We're aiming for a flawless ride here. Steps in KAs and events. Inspect OE losses. Find out why your VF-12 is losing race time. Identify root causes. Was it a part failure? A crew member error? Aliens? Whatever it is, we'll find it. Implement measures to prevent recurrence. After KAs, no problem is coming back. We improve, or we get faster. Measuring success with TPM KPIs, key performance indicators. To know if our TPM strategy is working, we need to track some key metrics. OE. If your VF-12 isn't hitting 100% OE, we have some work to do. We're aiming for nothing less than perfection. Number of improvements. If you're not making your fighter better, then what are you doing? We're talking tweaks, upgrades, modifications. Every day is an opportunity for a new improvement. Percentage of operators trained in autonomous maintenance. Can every pilot identify a loose bolt? If not, it's time to train them, because a pilot who knows their VF-12 inside and out is unbeatable. Challenges with traditional maintenance approaches. Not so cool. Reactive maintenance. Waiting until the VF-12 goes down in flames to fix something is so last century. We're not trying to fix a blown-up engine after the race. We want zero downtime, baby. Large maintenance teams. If everything's working right, we don't need an army of mechanics. We need a few experts who know their craft and can optimize everything on the fly. Integrating maintenance with continuous improvement. Just like racing your VF-12, it's not just about getting to the finish line. We need to always be improving. The maintenance crew should constantly be innovating, tweaking, and improving. We need to track metrics like availability, performance, and quality. If we're not improving, we're falling behind. Key takeaways. Mindset shift. TPM isn't just a tool, it's a way of life. Operators and maintenance staff alike need to adopt this mindset to make the VF-12 unbeatable. Operators maintain. Operators are no longer just passengers, they're the caretakers. They take care of the small stuff, so the fighter is ready for the big stuff. Maintenance teams innovate. The maintenance crew focuses on improving the VF-12, making it faster, more reliable, and better every single day. Continuous improvement. TPM is about never stopping. We're always going faster, improving performance, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And there you have it. TPM isn't just for old, dusty factory machinery, it's the key to making the VF-12 beta fighter the most powerful, fastest, and most reliable machine on the racetrack and in the air. So, next time you're piloting the VF-12, remember, it's not just about flying fast. It's about keeping that machine in perfect condition. Because the only thing that should break down is your competition. Now go out there, maintain your machines like a pro, and let's kick some serious tail. Page 6. Alright, let's fire up the engines and get this Robotech VF-12 beta fighter rolling like the well-oiled machine it is. As your trusty engineer, I'm here to talk about how we can apply some sharp financial wisdom, a pinch of strategic thinking, and a whole lot of warrior spirit to our racing future. The click, fitting the right people with the right role. Now, first off, we've all heard Ray Dalio's wisdom. Hear the click, find the right fit between the role and the person. Sounds like rocket science, right? But seriously, whether it's flying a VF-12 or tuning it to perfection for race day, it's all about getting the right fit. In our case, you could have the coolest jet on the planet, but if you don't have the right people operating it, then the jet's about as useful as a paper airplane in a hurricane. We're talking about the click when the engineer and the fighter jet bond. It's like when your shoes fit just right, or you can run, jump, and outrun the enemy. But hey, let's get to the fun part, where the numbers don't just add up, they fly high. The financials of our VF-12 Beta Fighter HQ. OK, we've got our state-of-the-art Robotech VF-12 Beta Fighter headquarters located at 1611 Robotech VF-12 Beta Fighter Road, Madripoor. At a massive 638,908 SF of engineering wonderland, this place isn't just a building, it's a futuristic fighter jet playground. We've got the space for tuning, testing, and perfecting our VF-12s. Net operating income, NOI, $8,725,460. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, that's because it is. That's the money flowing in as we prep for race day, keeping our gears running smooth and our engines revved up. Capitalization rate, cap rate, 10%. A solid return rate if I do say so myself. You invest in this, and boom, your capital's looking as sleek as the VF-12's afterburners. Debt service coverage ratio, DSCR, 2.05. For those of you who aren't accountants, this means we're totally able to cover our debt with room to spare. No worries here unless you're an alien invader, in which case, we've got bigger problems. Occupancy rate, 86%. That's our engineer occupancy count, with 4,259 brilliant minds in the building. If we're ever short on pilots, we know where to find a few more flying enthusiasts. They better know their way around a VF-12 Beta Fighter. Operating expense ratio, 62%. We're running a lean, mean flying machine, people. Just like our VF-12, we've optimized the budget to keep things light and efficient. Now, let's talk about market rent versus in-place rent. The market rate is $14.55/SF, but we're renting at $13.80/SF. Why? Because we're not just selling space, we're selling performance here, and the VF-12 is the best performance money can buy. You get what you pay for, and you want the VF-12 in your garage. Profitability cash flow, we're in the black. Replacement cost, $160 million. So you might be wondering, what's the value of the VF-12, if we had to build a new one from scratch? Well, we'd need a big budget, but that's chump change when you're dealing with the best in the business. Loan-to-value ratio, LTV, 75%. We're leveraging our investments smartly. This isn't about putting all our eggs in one basket, it's about flying high while keeping our feet on the ground. IRR, 10.2%. The internal rate of return. Now, that's the kind of return I'm looking for. Every time that VF-12 shoots through the sky, it's adding value, baby. NPV, $2,500,000. The net present value of this place? Let's just say the future is looking pretty profitable. Every tweak and adjustment we make to our VF-12 is going to bring in big bucks. Cash on cash return, 9.8%. This is our financial afterburner. The faster we go, the more we make. Our strategic plan, fitting the right people with the right role. Again, let's go back to that click memento when the operator fits with the VF-12 like the best racing gloves in the business. Just like Ray Dalio says, when the person clicks with their role, everything runs like a high-speed chase through the stars. As engineers, we're not just tweaking screws here. We're matching operators with their perfect fighter jets. Maybe someone's got a knack for turbocharging engines. Maybe another's a whiz with autonomous systems. Either way, when you have the right fit, you get the best performance here on the track and in the sky. The Power Brokers score, A.A.A. If you don't know about this yet, let me break it down. Our Power Broker score is a strong A.A.A. That's right, we've got the creds and the gear to back it up. If you're on the racetrack with us, you better be ready to face the best. Closing thoughts, keep it fast, keep it smart. So, here's the bottom line, folks. Robotech VF-12 Beta Fighter HQ isn't just a high-tech hangar, it's a money-making, jet-flying, race-winning machine factory. By ensuring the right people are in the right roles, optimizing our performance, and staying ahead of the game with financial strategies that make sense, we're ready to fly higher than anyone else. Get ready, world of the VF-12 Beta Fighter is coming, and we've got the financial, engineering, and piloting expertise to take us to the top. So, buckle up, it's gonna be a high-speed race. Page 7a. Ladies and gentlemen, engineers, pilots, and all fellow seekers of speed and excellence, gather around as we dive into the exciting, high-octane world of the Robotech VF-12 Beta Fighter, specially engineered for racing purposes, because why not race when you could literally fly circles around everyone? Now, I know what you're thinking, how do you raise a cool $100 million for a Series B round to make the VF-12 the ultimate racing machine? Well, let me tell you, it's not just about the sleek lines, the supersonic speeds, or the ability to transform into a battle-ready mesh at the drop of a hat, though those things help. VCs ask some pretty unusual questions when you're looking for serious investment, and trust me, as a VF-12 Beta Fighter engineer, I've got my answers locked, loaded, and ready to fire off at Mach 3. 1. If you could go back in time, What would you have done differently in your first 18 months? Well, considering the VF-12 started off with a prototype that only hovered during the first 18 months, I would have definitely invested in better thrusters and maybe some stronger coffee for the engineers. You see, VCs want to know if you can learn from your early misfires. In the Robotech world, that means looking back at our first test flight where we nearly launched the VF-12 into another galaxy. But now, after all that, we know that scalability and reliability come first, so let's just say the VF-12 is now way more Earth-friendly. 2. What's the one thing in your company that keeps you awake at night, but you're still not doing anything about it? Great question, VCs. For me? It's fuel efficiency. I mean, hyper-warp engines are amazing for short bursts of speed, but do you know how many gallons of unobtainium it takes to fuel this bad boy for a full race season? And yet, we're still running with a plan that involves sending race drones to the nearest space station for refueling. But hey, we're working on it. This is why I'm still awake designing a hybrid fuel system that runs on both dark matter and space dust. And I swear, if this thing works, it's going to be the greenest race car in the universe. Take that, fossil fuels. 3. If your product could talk, what would it say about your company? Well, if the VF-12 beta fighter could talk, I'm fairly sure it would say, I could have been a supercar, but no, they had to make me a fighter jet. I mean, let's be real here. What else can handle the high speeds of a Formula 1 race while transforming into a jet that can dogfight over 30,000 feet? This machine is the future of racing and combat all rolled into a near, and it knows it. But, in a humble tone, of course. After all, it's a mecha with a sense of pride. 4. What's the most ambitious thing you can do with $100 million in the next 12 months? Ambitious? Oh, absolutely. We'll take the VF-12 from just an intergalactic racer to the champion of the universe. Imagine a race circuit that spans across planets. We're talking Mars, Titan, and maybe even a lap around Jupiter's Great Red Spot for good measure. With $100 million, I'd turbocharge the engineering team to harness asteroid resources for advanced material development, create a zero-gravity pit stop, and boost our hyperspace drive to break the light-speed barrier during an official race. Watch out, Kangaroo Racing League, we're coming for that top spot. 5. If you weren't raising $100 million, what would you be doing right now to grow your company? You know what? I'd still be here working my tail off, tweaking the VF-12 so it could race against a fleet of space shuttlers, because that's just the level of ambition we have at Robotech Racing. $100 million or not, we're committed to being the fastest, most adaptable racing machine on his planet or any planet, really. However, $100 million does make it a bit easier to secure best hyperdrive engineers and warp fuel specialists. A few more black hole accelerators never hurt anyone, right? 6. Who in your team would you hire to run your company if you were hit by a bus tomorrow? Now, let's be real, if I get hit by a bus, the first person I'd hire is definitely Sparks, the engineer who figured out how to get the VF-12 to hover without flaming out every 5 minutes. I trust Sparks with my life here, and with a $100 million investment, I'd say she's ready to take the reins and win the Intergalactic Racing Championship. Plus, she has an excellent track record of turning near disasters into the most epic wins. And let's face it, anybody who can fix the VF-12 after I nearly broke it 5 times last week deserves to be in charge. In conclusion, folks, I hope this little race through our journey to $100 million has revved up your engines. With a combination of vision, speed, and a little bit of humor, we'll race past the competition and turn the VF-12 beta fighter into a legend. Thanks for listening, and now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to figure out how to prevent the next fuel issue from keeping me up all night. Page 7b. Ladies and gentlemen, speed junkies, and fellow thrill seekers, I'm here today to talk about Robotech VF-12 beta fighter, engineered not just to fly, but to race like nothing else. Now, when you think of racing, you probably imagine sleek cars, high-octane engines, and a little bit of how do I not crash into that wall. But in the VF-12, we're talking about something a little bit more ambitious. We're talking about racing at the speed of light, and yes, we're definitely going to break a few laws of physics along the way. So, to answer some of the unusual questions that investors are tossing our way as we race towards securing that $100 million for our Series B round, here we go. Buckle up, because we're about to warp speed through the answers. Who in your team would you hire to run your company if you were hit by a bus tomorrow? Well, first off, I hope the VF-12 is going so fast that the bus would just vaporize into a cloud of stardust. But assuming I somehow survive this unfortunate bus incident, the person I'd hire to run Robotech Racing would be none other than Sparks, the woman who can make the VF-12 do backflips in zero gravity. Sparks can handle everything, from hyperdrive recalibrations to emergency coffee runs for the team, because, trust me, if you're building a mecha, you need a lot of caffeine. She's the real deal, and unlike me, she actually reads the manual. You know, just in case the warp core needs a little tweaking. If anyone can lead us to victory, it's Sparks. So, don't worry, the VF-12 will keep flying high without me. What's the most ambitious thing you can do with $100 million in the next 12 months? Oh, you want ambition? Buckle in. With $100 million, we're going to create the first ever intergalactic racing league. Think about it, Mars for the qualifiers, Titan for the final stretch, and Jupiter as the pit stopper because who doesn't want to refuel near a giant storm cloud, right? And while the rest of the world is still debating whether electric cars are the future, we'll be blazing through hyperspace at speed so fast, you won't even know we passed you until the space-time continuum catches up. In the next 12 months, we won't just be racing, we'll be shaping the future of transportation, redefining speed, and quite frankly, just having a blast while doing it. If you weren't raising $100 million, what would you be doing right now to grow your company? Ah, the classic are you a bootstrap kind of company or a trust fund baby? Question. Well, let me tell you something, if we weren't raising $100 million, we'd still be taking this bad boy, the VF-12, to the top. With or without that $100 million, we'd be working tirelessly, tweaking, testing, and transforming this fighter jet meets race car into the ultimate race machine. We've got enough innovation packed into the VF-12 beta fighter to make even Einstein jealous, probably. And trust me, our engineers are resourceful. They've already figured out how to race across planets with no pit stops. So, whether we get that sweet cash injection or not, we're still going full throttle into the future of racing. But, of course, $100 million wouldn't hurt. It would definitely help speed up the process, especially in securing that sweet warp fuel and upgrading the touch-in thrusters. Now, if I can leave you with one last thing, while we're all about speed, ambition, and racing across the galaxy, the real fuel behind the VF-12 beta fighter is the team. The ones who make it all happen, from the engineers to the pilots and of course, Sparks, who would probably make a pit stop to fix my space helmet mid-race. But don't worry, we've got the right team and the right technology to make the VF-12 the fastest, most unstoppable racing machine in the universe. So, VCs, if you're listening, investing in Robotech racing isn't just about the machine, it's about the people who make the impossible, possible. And trust me, the only thing faster than the VF-12 is the success we're about to achieve together. Thank you, and I'll see you at the finish linear unless, of course, you're already in another galaxy. Then, you'll probably need to catch up.